Good afternoon, everybody. Old Man Dan here again. And today I am practicing making videos for YouTube using the second most popular flat earth and televangelist, or apologist, sorry, not televangelist, but apologist techniques. And that is the vertical video. Right now I'm sitting outside with just Dan Bonnie. Everybody else is inside being lazy, but I'm sleeping. Bonnie was sleeping too, but every time I get up and go somewhere, she's got to follow. So, oh, there comes Panela. So let me let Panela out, because she likes to play too. Come on, girl. Come on. There you go. There you go. Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to make a short video and talk about today's Super Bowl game. We're getting ready to go to my stepson's house, where we're going to have a Super Bowl party with my wife and her kids and a couple other people. The shoot, that ain't what I was gonna say. But so anyway, so today's teams playing are San Francisco and Kansas City, and I don't really care who wins. I would kind of like to see Kansas City win for several reasons that I'll talk about shortly. But what I would really like to see happen is a prophecy from a long, long time ago actually come true today. Now, before I went on active duty in the Marine Corps, I spent some time in the reserves. And while I was in the reserves, I was in several different reserve units around the Midwest. I was in a 81 millimeter mortar platoon in Springfield, Missouri. I was into a rifle company in Wichita, Kansas, that later became a repair, maintenance, and engineer company, and I had to go get a different job. And then I moved to Kansas City, where I worked part-time as a reservist, you know, that kind of crap, as a reservist at the headquarters of 24th Marine Regiment. While I lived in Kansas City, I went to a church that back then was called the Kansas City Fellowship. It's now pretty famous in evangelical circles as the International House of Prayer. And the guy that was there in the early 80s, one of the guys that helped start it, I can't remember his full name, but it's Mike something or another. And I'll put a link in the video description so you guys can actually check this church out. But what was unique about Kansas City Fellowship back in the day was that they claimed to be the church that was going to bring back end-time prophecy to Christian theology. And they had a resident quote-unquote prophet named Jones, I think his last name was. Anyway, one of the people who attended the church when I was there was the guy who was actually the starting quarterback for Kansas City at the time, a guy by the name of Blackledge. Troy Blackledge, Tony Blackledge. I don't know. Old age sucks, and I'm forgetting now. I'll actually look up a link on that and put it in the description too. Anyway, one of the prophecies that was floating around the church at that time was that with Blackledge as the quarterback, Kansas City Chiefs was going to win the Super Bowl, and that would be the beginning of the end times. Jesus coming back, the tribulation, the advent of the Antichrist, you know, all that stuff. Now, I know we've heard all kinds of prophecies about the end times, all kinds of prophecies about the Antichrist. Hell, I've lost track of how many people have been accused of being the Antichrist, from Obama to both the Clintons, Soros, the Catholic Church. I mean, just if a Christian doesn't like somebody, the first thing they'll tell you is that that person is the Antichrist. But anyway, don't want to get sidetracked down that rabbit hole right now. I just want to talk about how the fact that in 83, 84, part 85, when I lived in Kansas City and I attended the Kansas City Fellowship, one of the big prophecies that everybody held on to real tight was that Blackledge and the Kansas City Chiefs were going to win the Super Bowl, and that would be a sign of the beginning of a huge revival in Kansas City, which would lead to the beginning of the end times. Now, I'm sitting here decades later, and Kansas City still hasn't won the Super Bowl. Blackledge is no longer a player. He retired a long time ago. And so far, nobody's seen the Antichrist. So far, Jesus hasn't come back. And so far, the end times haven't started. So, I'm really hoping to see today Kansas City win, and then find out that it's the end times. Just kidding. Even if Kansas City does win, I really don't think it's going to lead us to the end times or any of that other crazy stuff. So anyway, that's just my short little video using a vertical video format so that I can just be like all the other flat earthers. Well, not other flat earthers, because I'm not a flat earther. But so I can be just as good as the flat earthers and the apologists who post videos on YouTube every single day. Anyway, thanks for watching. This is Old Man Dan, and I'll talk to you soon.